Hello everyone, it's Emmanuel. For those of you that are new here, I am a Miami-based multidisciplinary artist which merges fine art, graphic design, and fashion. And in today's video, I will be going over an album rollout that I worked on a couple of months ago. Everything that has to do with the graphics, with the vibe, the aesthetic, the release, the album cover, all of that, I'm gonna be going over it today. So around October of last year, there was this artist called ScootieWop. His real name is Emmanuel. And he came to me saying that he had a vibe and an aesthetic or a style for an album that he wanted to release, but he didn't know how to bring it to life. Now, as I will show you in some slides, I have done this with previous clothing brands, but nothing like what Scooty wanted. Now, he had a draft actually of the album and I listened to it and everything, and I started compiling everything that I visually saw from the draft of the album into a Pinterest board. So the board is right here, and I'm kind of going to go around like the bottom and all that. And I'm just going to quickly go over some of the things that I started feeling once I started hearing the album. He wanted something a little bit down south, laid back, early 2000s. Essentially, the album was a celebration of somebody leaving one life and going into another. A lot of film photography, some of these images, I'll tap into them. For example, this one, I really thought and I saw that this black and white aesthetic was going to be something that was really going to help him out. Another one like this, he actually told me that the color scheme or the aesthetic that he wanted is the color orange. That's something really important to establish because a lot of the images that we're going to see here have to do with the color orange. For example, this outfit by Kendrick Lamar, I really liked how, all these little glares were showing on his clothing and whatnot. Sort of this too, especially when he was telling me about the gold grills. I imagined some of the scenes of certain videos being cutouts of certain parts of his face or certain scenes, kind of bringing it all together. This image from Pharrell, I think it was one of the greatest inspirations that we had for the gold teeth that you will see that we did later, especially this one with the Martin Luther King Jr. with the gold grills. And again, getting inspiration from the Big Steppers tour by Kendrick Lamar. This was something that we started thinking about, kind of what if there are certain parts where it was different fonts put together, but we also liked the orange and black color scheme going on in this poster. Another thing that I was talking about with Scooty is that I wanted to create an avatar or a character similar to how here A$AP Rocky is dressed up and this character is called Babushka Boy. And we kind of wanted to create something like that where it was a character for this album that will only be in this album. And then as he progresses in his discography, he will have different characters, similar to how Tyler the Creator did. That's why I saved this image right here from Call Me If You Get Lost, because it was kind of like an outfit that he had for this specific album. And now what I'll be showing you guys is after we kind of got all these images, started doing sketches and drafts and all this, we came up with this lookbook and mood board. And now here is where we got the fonts. Now I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly the name of the fonts, that's for him, but here we came up with the primary, with the secondary font, and what I was telling you guys before with the Kendrick Lamar poster, what if we use a blend of many different fonts? And that's the example I put. This is one of the first songs that he was going to release called Rain Down, and I kind of showed him this example of kind of what if we use, sort of different fonts and blending them together. And right here, I kind of told him the items that we will always be using through our content are our three colors, just the orange, black, and white, both for the posters, content, and also color grading. I showed him examples right here. I really wanted this world, this kind of warm color to be shown in absolutely all of his content. It doesn't have to be strictly these three colors, but I wanted to hone down that, listen, this is a warm aesthetic. We're not going to be using the blues, the purples, the greens. We're going to be using the oranges, the reds, the yellows, and black and white, a lot of monochrome, because it was something that was going to tie the whole aesthetic together. And this is the avatar that we came up with for him. He never had an avatar before this, and I kind of created two things. I created one that is kind of the standard one that he will be using, for everything else. And then the second one, which is the one on the right, is kind of a version of his character for this album specifically. As you can see, the gold grills, the kind of big chain, puffer jacket, these are all things that he wanted. And I was playing around with a lot of colors, and this is what we came up with at the end. You can see right here all the colors I was playing with, sort of trying to see what other colors would work. As you can see, the blues just really clash, even in the character. That's why in the content, that color is going to clash a lot as well. And right here is where we brought it all to life. So as you can see right here for this poster for one of his songs, it's where we really start to see, okay, this is how this is all going to be applied. The Trillmatikk logo, sort of the font that he has and everything, the blend of different fonts in the same poster, something that he really liked. I got a picture of him in a concert and I put some of examples of certain songs that he had in drafts. I don't think that all of them passed, and I think there's some new ones that he added later, but I kind of wanted to show him this is sort of the branding aesthetic that we're going to be going for. And now this is where I kind of showed him the style and the mood that I had for the album cover. This is one of the best and the greatest parts of this project in my opinion. So right here there's a song that he dropped only on YouTube and on Instagram called Oh Man, and it was separate from the project, but he already started teasing things for Trillmatikk. As you can start to see, the very warm colors, the warm aesthetic, the orange that kind of flickers in certain scenes. Yeah, this sort of like atmosphere that we were talking about that we wanted to build, this sort of like, you know, South Side, very deep, warm colors, editing, kind of what I told you guys before, focusing on the mouth, focusing on parts, doing this sort of like collage cutouts that I showed you before. He brought it into this music video. Yeah, we can see it right there. Shout out to AMP Nova. He is the one that actually recorded all of this and all the future videos that we will be seeing. He actually is the one that recorded it all. And right here is where he started showing posters. Track 4 of 12, Rain Down. This is the poster that we designed and we created. This is another alternative cover that I did for the song, and you're gonna see where, you know, this comes from. Another single that he dropped, again with the same poster style. And before I move on, guys, I'm going to show you everything that we did for the album cover. So the first thing that he did was that Emmanuel actually sent me a document showing kind of what he wanted the album cover to be. And the character, he wanted it to be, you know, our signature character, kind of thinking or contemplating or wondering. In front of him is a TV, but he's not really watching the TV. And on his wrist, he has sort of those like tags that they put on you when you go to the hospital, things like that. Kind of somebody that is in custody with the album, thinking about, you know, what he's gonna write and all of this. And he wanted that aesthetic to really show through. So this is the early sketch that I did. He really liked it and whatnot. Then I translated it into a digital version. We wanted to first see how it would look like digitally, and I kind of got these images, as you can see right here. These are the colors that he wanted, the warm colors, the warm aesthetic, kind of this like old room with the light kind of shining through. And I used this image from album cover from MF Doom for kind of the aesthetic of the style, especially with the table, with the windows, with the little character, kind of like some Easter eggs or cameos around and things like that. I wanted to do that as well. This was the official first draft that I did, and at this point I told him, listen, we could go digital, it could be nice, it could be cool, but I personally wanted to do a fully painted version. I wanted it to be on a canvas. I wanted to paint it because I think that a lot of the aesthetics and a lot of the feels from, you know, the album, the project, were really gonna show through if it was handmade. So right here's where I got to work. I started sketching it on this canvas. I started showing him some progress on how I did it. Right here you can start seeing a lot of the textures on the TV, on the table, on the breakfast. Everything starts to make a little bit more sense. Right here, some more texture, some more of the details. And right here, man, this is where he really started liking it. And this is where I finished with the background, essentially, with all the paper. Right here, details on the breakfast, on the notebook, on the Bible, a pencil, the old couch, sort of like the old tile floor. And so right there, I merged the digital character with the background from the painting, just to start to see how it would look like if you wanted it like this, but he actually wanted everything to be fully painted. So that's where I went. And right here is the full painting. This is how it came out. Character, I put a lot of texture. I actually used gold paint for the gold elements. I was able to write a lot of the things. I put a date, which was the estimate date for the drop of the album, which didn't come, but it still has it there. It's still significant. And right here, the paper, I kind of left it blank because I told them that I was going to put the text in post in Photoshop. So in Photoshop, as you can see right here, what I did is that I made kind of the left side a little bit darker. I added some more glow on the right side. I added the Trillmatikk logo, and I started adding some of the songs. Will Be Done, Rain Down, Holy, 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 kind of blending it with the rest of the background. And I added this deluxe because he might be dropping a deluxe. And now for this last segment, I'm just going to be showing you guys how everything really came together, how everything looks, you know, once it's already made. So this is a shot from one of his music videos that he did. He actually recreated the scene that I painted for the album cover to kind of start teasing it. As you can see right there, very nice setup. This is a shot from one of his first music videos. As you can see, black and white, sort of the aesthetic that we were speaking of before, especially this one as well, black and white. So this is a song that he made. Actually has 10K views already. Right here, this image really gets the aesthetic going. The text on the side really adds to it as well. Right here, close-up shots. Again with the font, the musical director asked me for the font so he could use it to put some text there as well. This very like dark style aesthetic. Right here, the black and white, absolutely great. Gets the vibe going really well. Right here, just the orange touches, just adds a little bit of the aesthetic that we were talking about. This shot right here is a very nice shot. Got the warm colors, got the black, white. Right here again, with the black and white. Zoom ins, this sort of like black backdrop sets the tone. Here he announced that the album was finally finished. He put the little character, black and white, just made the entire video black and white, added some clips, really sets the tone. Here he started announcing that he was doing some merchandise with the little logo that we did. So we actually worked on some merchandise also that he started selling, which so far has done really good. And right here, he finally released the album right here with the cover. He also did instrumentals. This cover I didn't do, but I gave him the fonts, I gave him the files, so he could do whatever he wants. He could do graphics, he could do covers, he could do posters and all that, but I gave him the aesthetic, I gave him the vibe, I gave him the font files as well, and he can do whatever he wants. I think that's one of the greatest things from these projects, is that I give my clients the tools, the resources that they need to not just receive, you know, the project that I do for them, but to be able to run with the vision that I gave them for the long run. There can be a moment that they might not even need me, but I was able to help them build the vision. I was able to help them start it from the ground up. Right here, he announced 100K views. No. Right here, he announced 100K listens on Spotify. Great accomplishment. Under the same aesthetic as we were talking about. Right there, he got some clips from before and he kind of color graded them so it could just be orange, black, and white, which I think is awesome. Right here, some news outlets started posting him. And yeah, guys, essentially that is how it all came to life. You know, everything from the plans from the beginning, from the boards, sketches, the back and forths, the draft portfolio. And it was just very fun to see how everything that was kind of planned at the beginning came to life truly in content, in videos, in music videos, in album covers. That's going to be historical. I know it's going to be there for a while. And it was just great to be a part of this project. And thank you guys so much for listening to the whole video. If any of you are interested in getting an album cover done, an album rollout completed, merchandise, if you want to start a fashion brand, hit me up, DM me, we'll work it out, we'll discuss, we can build it from the ground up. Even if you just have the name, even if you just have the logo, even if you just have the desire that you want to do something but you don't know where to start, trust me, we can sit down, we can Zoom, we can talk it out, we can build it from the ground up. In the future, I'll be sharing other brands that I did the same, where they just came in, not even with a name, it just came in with an aesthetic or a message, or just even a sketch of a logo. And we built it up to a fully fleshed brand that they themselves right now can run with. They themselves can create content, they can create drops and whatever they want to do from now on. And check out my website, check out my Instagram. I also did a little carousel post on this on Instagram, so check it out, check out my work. Stay tuned because a lot of things are coming.